Hi everybody,
Hey everybody, how you doing?
this is Shara and this is my special guest, Will. Say
Hi everybody.
hi. So tonight is going to be really interesting. We're going to be talking about some relationship Q&A. We got some questions from some folks and we're going to be answering some questions live tonight. So
Mm.
first, how's everybody doing? I see we have a couple people in the chat already. How's y'all's weekend going? Well, I'll start. My weekend's going really good. Florida weather has changed, so it's really nice outside, nice and cool. We have a little bit of breeze, not as much intense heat. So it's been really nice. So I've been really enjoying the weather today. Got to get out, do some shopping, have a nice dinner. So I mean, it's been pretty good. How about you? How's your weekend going?
I'm really enjoying the weather as well.
Mhm.
Probably won't see any color change, but as far as the temp change, it was absolutely amazing today. So
Yeah.
great day to be out. So I went to a football game a little earlier,
Oh
which
yeah.
was awesome. So I picked the right Saturday to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nice and cool. Wasn't out there burning up with looking at the kiddos, supporting them.
I love the change in the fall and football's so fun around this time of year. So we had a couple people come in and say hello. Hi guys. How you doing? Hope your weekend's going well. Trying to get a little bit of a minute for everybody to come in. Hi, Miss Burr. Yes, Miss Burr. This is my very special guest, Will, and he's gonna be joining me tonight on the live chat or the
Yes.
live stream, and giving his opinion and perspective on some relationship things. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started with our first question we got here. Let's go ahead and see what we have.
Let's see here.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Go
I'll
first.
go first. Okay. So we got a question from one of my subscribers. I'm not gonna say the whole name, but his name's Tony, and Tony wants to know: is it okay to date around? How do you manage dating multiple people? So that's a really good question.
Awesome question.
Very good question.
Yeah.
I as far as I go, my opinion, as far as dating multiple people, I think if you're gonna do that, I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with dating multiple people.
Okay.
Um, but you have to be honest
Mm-hmm.
in what your intentions are. What do you think?
I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I am all for, and really you have to define dating.
Yeah.
Dating as in getting to know someone, or dating as is something serious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how everyone else dates, but I can say that one, if you're just kind of, courting, getting to know someone, definitely, it would behoove you to get to know more than one person at the
Right.
same time. I actually
Absolutely.
read an interesting article that encouraged women to date more than one person. And they say men are more successful at dating because they typically date more than one person,
Mm-hmm.
versus women normally take one at a time.
Right.
If you really think about it, it's time management.
Yeah.
If you if you take 6 months getting to know this person, it doesn't work out, for the point you are very serious.
Right.
Then you wasted 6 months. But if you
Mm-hmm.
have like three people you're dating at the same time, just kind of filling them out,
Mm-hmm.
and then it may be one that you want to get more serious about and start exclusive dating, which is the next phase.
Right.
It's like, that kind of courtship, getting to know them, seeing if you
Absolutely.
have some interest. See, can you get through an evening,
Right.
with this person? So that's my thing, because I know that, in our day and age, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, internet dating is like one of the big things. Do I
Right.
internet date, or do I go to speed date? Do I, just go out and try to be more social?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, I mean, in a way, some of the parents in some of the older generations, they kind of did the internet dating. They did like newspaper ads,
Yeah.
single white
Yeah.
female, this and that. So
Right. That's
it's
true.
not unusual for someone to meet someone, but you want to make sure that you have something in common with
Right.
someone, before you go out.
Mm-hmm.
What'd be interesting, To add to this question, when we talk about dating, what are your expectations on a first date?
Mhm.
If you get to know someone, say like since I brought up the internet dating thing, like
Uh-huh.
okay, are you expecting like flowers and this grand thing? When you
Mhm.
get to go out with someone, or do you think something more on neutral terms,
Yeah.
where like you go get coffee or go sit down
Mhm.
and chat with someone at a
Yeah.
beach or at a museum or
Mhm.
somewhere where you can converse and see if you have something in common. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I definitely agree. There's levels to dating. You can just be talking to somebody.
Levels.
Levels. You can just be talking to somebody and just getting to know them, and it may not even in that process of getting to know them, you may realize, hey, this is probably not the best thing for me, so maybe we should just keep it in the friend zone. Or if you're talking to somebody and you do like them, but you notice they may have a couple red flags, at
Mm-hmm.
that point in time, you have to consider, okay, is this something that I really want to deal with? Is this person somebody that I can see a future with? And then
Absolutely.
continue with that. So I definitely agree there's levels to dating. Um, as far as managing multiple people, like I just want to get back to that. I think that, you just have to be honest. You have to be honest in where you are, like with that person, and let them know, hey, right now we're just friends. We're getting to know each other, and
Mm-hmm.
I am talking to other people. I just want you to be aware of that.
Yeah.
That way, there's no confusion. There's no um, well, why didn't you tell me about that? If you're upfront and honest about
Right.
it, and you're clear about what your expectations are, I think that kind of eliminates confusion.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I definitely believe that should be the case, especially when intimacy is
Mhm.
involved.
Right.
In the situation,
Mhm.
just being just open and honest and having that dialogue, because
Yeah.
that adds another layer of emotions and ties and
Mhm.
so forth. So if you guys are there on that level, but you're still thinking about whether I want this or not,
Mhm.
you should be honest with that person.
Right.
But I think having a dialogue and communication,
Mhm.
just managing expectations is
Yeah.
really the big thing.
Mhm.
And one thing is you'll be surprised. I think more times than not, it's not that people are not willing,
Mhm.
but it's just make it my choice.
Mhm.
Don't lure me into it and bait and switch me or say you're doing
Right.
this or say you're not. Because in this day and age, some women are just as fine with some consistent good sex. Like okay, I can depend on you
He
for
said that.
that.
I didn't say that.
And some men just may feel like, oh, I need to be a player. I don't need
Mhm.
to tell her or whatever.
Yeah.
But typically, a lot of times, if you have the chemistry, the feelings,
Mhm.
and the person is willing and at least have that choice, and then they can make that choice, but
Yeah.
they may not be. But I don't believe you should steal someone's choice in the matter when it comes
Absolutely.
to that. So when you are able to be open and honest, you might be surprised, but
Mhm.
someone may be perfectly down for that, but someone may not be. But it just goes where at the end of the day, if you get to a point of intimacy, there's going to
Mhm.
be feelings.
Right.
Even if it
Absolutely.
doesn't work out or you saying it's
Mhm.
casual, someone ends up usually wanting more, and
Right.
that happens. But at least you had that understanding. Does the
Yes.
understanding eliminate all disappointment? No, but at least you're open and honest, where that person can't say, "Oh, well, you tricked me."
Mhm.
So that's the great thing about being open and honest and
Right.
having that dialogue up front.
Mhm. Absolutely. What do you guys think? I see you guys chatting in the comments. What do you think about dating multiple people? Are you a single person and you are dating multiple people? Do you have quote unquote options that you're exploring? Let us know down in the comments what you think about Tony's question, and is it okay to date multiple people, and how do you manage that if you are dating multiple people? We definitely like to know your thoughts on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think
I
that was
don't know.
very.
That was like just like are you asking me the question?
No, I see them commenting in the comments. So let's see. So Crystal says that it's okay as long as it's just dating. Well, what do you think dating is,
Yeah.
Crystal? What is your definition of dating? Do you think that's just hanging out, maybe going to the movies, having dinner. You know, because there's a thing that is just hanging out, but there's also dating with a purpose, and some people only date with a purpose
Yeah,
to
some
know.
women date
Yeah,
with a purpose.
yeah.
You know, they be married to a man in the spirit. You know,
Right, in their mind,
yeah, but
this
most
is where they
men, if
are.
it's not going on in the physical, it ain't going on in the spirit for a man. I could just tell you that. So in your mind, we could be like together, but
Right.
normally we cross that
Mm-hmm.
boundary. But I will say this quick story about dating.
Yeah,
I
sure.
remember probably about 10 years ago when I was dating, and it was this one young lady that I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I thought she really friend zoned me. And then later on, we became friends. And, through that process, we just became friends. And later, she mentioned that, just in a casual conversation, like, yeah, we dated. And I was like, we did? I thought we were just hanging out. Like, I didn't think she was interested in me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I thought you friend zoned me. I didn't
Yeah.
think that you liked me like that
Mm-hmm.
where we can get to the point of dating.
Mm-hmm.
But, I obviously enjoyed your company. We had a
Mm-hmm.
great time. We still, are really awesome friends. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things that I didn't know we were dating. So I believe, like, when it comes to dating, of course, it's like, getting to know someone, but like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's layers.
Mm-hmm.
It's that hanging out, getting to know someone, finding out if you really have something in common. And
Mm-hmm.
then from that point, what I consider dating, I consider that the courting phase,
Mm-hmm.
and that may vary from person to person, from relationship to relationship.
Yeah.
But when I what I call dating someone is like when it's a commitment, when saying like, hey, I want to, now that I've gotten a chance to
Mm-hmm.
know you, I've seen what you're about. I've seen you over a couple seasons, seen if you're crazy or not, see how you
Yeah, you gotta
handle
check them out.
stress, make sure you don't have any bad personal hygiene habits. Now we can, exclusively date, and that's
Mm-hmm.
probably what most people will call dating,
Yeah.
where it's just me and that person. We have a commitment that I'm not entertaining no other women at that time. You're not
Mm-hmm.
entertaining no other men, and we're going to start really dating with the purpose to see
Mm-hmm.
can this thing progress to a marriage. And that's really what I would call dating, that I think most people probably term as
Right.
dating.
Right.
Is like when I say exclusive dating, it's just us's.
Us's.
That's it. It's us's.
Oh, that is so funny. I saw a couple comments. Miss Amber says that she's enjoying her singleness, and I think that's good. Everybody's in a certain place in their life where, it is what it is. Um, and I did see something by Reese. Reese said that she would doesn't want to put all her eggs in one basket, and I can
Absolutely.
understand that too. I mean, you don't want to close off everybody else to focus on
Mm-hmm.
this one person, and that person not end up being for you. You don't want to close yourself off from somebody that really may be one of the best things that ever happened to you, because you're just focusing on one thing and you have tunnel vision. So I can definitely see your point in regards to that.
I definitely see like, and that's why with that article, why they are saying date multiple people, get to
Hmm.
know multiple people, so you're not putting all your eggs in one
Right.
basket. I mean, from a strategic planning standpoint, is productive to do that.
Hmm.
And you'll know after a while if it
Right.
is some chemistry. It doesn't take more. It's like one of those things. That analogy, like everyone brings their representative, or
Yes.
wears their mask,
Their
but
best
eventually it
foot and
gets
face.
hot, and that's why you got to see people over
Right.
seasons and take your
Hmm.
time, because we confuse that new age L word, that
Yes.
lust word with love a lot of times, and it's
Yes.
really just you're lonely and whatever. And I forgot the
Hmm.
young lady that said she's enjoying her singleness. One of the things that I believe is the reason why, no matter why relationships fail, is
Hmm.
because people are looking to be whole through another person versus
Yeah.
being whole by themselves. Two whole people
Absolutely.
coming together. It's amazing. We don't necessarily need another person in our lives to fulfill our life purpose. It's
Hmm.
great to have a life partner to share memories with and things
Hmm.
like that, but it's amazing what you can do with just your support system of
Yep.
professionals and other people where you can be focused. And a
Hmm.
lot of times, I believe why many people are frustrated is because they're looking for that person to make them whole and complete.
Hmm.
I had a very interesting conversation with, I'll call it my little sister today.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I was saying is that, I believe that you are unhappy because you put you basically allow this person to be the reason for you to be happy, reason for
Mhm.
you not to be happy.
Yes.
So if you did well, they complimented you. If you did
Mhm.
well, they for doing good. If they say you did good, you felt good about yourself. But when that person didn't give you that accolades or whatever it
Right.
is in that relationship that you were seeking out, then you wasn't good by yourself.
Mhm.
So we have to know ourselves, know what we bring to the table, and know even with our significant others, they can
Right.
be insecure. They may have gotten a relationship because of their insecurities and things like that. But if you're not all right with yourself,
Mhm.
you can only pour out, what you have. And
Exactly.
if you're pouring out something into a broken, container, then no
And a
matter
leak.
what you pour out, no matter what you do, that person is not going to be happy and their
Right.
relationship is going to end.
Mhm.
So I actually said something very interesting and probably be a topic for another time.
Mhm.
But basically, they have different religions. And with that, I say, like, the religion is not the problem.
Right.
It's the attributes of the person that's the
Mhm.
problem. Do you have a person that compliments you, a person that's resilient,
Mhm.
a person that can love themselves and compliment themselves? So regardless of the religion issues,
Mhm.
you can actually, if you have that type of person that is resilient to life, that person that loves themselves, that
Mhm.
person that compliments you, that person that is about giving, no matter really what they believe as far as their religion preference, you guys can be okay because
Right.
that's what it's about. Just treating another person with decent,
Mhm.
as a decent human being. And if you can master that, then you can get beyond that.
Right.
But a person is only going to love you to the capacity that they're able to love and express themselves and how
Yep.
they live life. And if
Mhm.
you don't see those attributes in that person's life, then it's not going to be there in the relationship. So
Yeah.
when things go bad, that person is going to complain versus
Mhm.
overcoming. And if he or she, we're not going to just make it a guy thing. So if he or she always finds something wrong with life and
Yeah.
something wrong at their job and something wrong at this or
Negative
that,
people.
they're going to find something wrong with you, versus looking at the bright side.
Mhm. Okay. So, Crystal, what about that did you not agree with? I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Now, I would say I do agree with that. I feel like um, you should. I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I just feel like in regards to that, you have to be with somebody that you know not fulfilling you, but they have to be fulfilled themselves. They have to be a whole person themselves. Like from my personal experience, I feel like I have attracted a lot of men that I'm just gonna quote project men. Um, they're project men, and what I mean by that is they need some fixing.
Mm-hmm.
They have some type of issue going on, whether it be a financial issue, it could
Mm-hmm.
be issues from past relationships that they're still dealing with, it could be past issues, criminal issues. I
Yeah.
mean, it could be anything, and it could be a combination of those things. And these are men that, and I can only speak from what I've experienced. They need some type of putting together for them
Mm-hmm.
to be a whole person for you. And I'm not here for projects. I've done the project thing, and I feel like when you put all of that work into somebody and finally get them to where you want them where you feel like you want them to be, I feel like you're fixing somebody to be with somebody else. And I know that that's happened to me. Like, I have poured myself everything into a man before, and it always ended up falling apart, and I couldn't understand why it fell apart. Is because I was helping him with his education, helping him find his purpose, find his focus, and everything like that. And once he got it together, I guess he decided that that's not what he wanted, or I wasn't what he wanted. So I had put all this time and energy and everything into this person, and then they just decided that that's not what they wanted, and they moved on. So that left me,
Mm.
you know, at a point where I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Because I've poured all of myself into this person, and now I feel empty. And so, like, project people, like, I just, I don't recommend it. I feel like you have to be honest and, from the beginning, figure out if this person is going to be somebody that you can date, so that they don't end up being a project person for you to fix. Because that's not fair to you, and it's not fair. It's not fair to you.
Yeah,
Period. The end.
it's
Um,
not.
yeah.
And I believe some men do that as well.
Yeah.
And I would say that, my dad was a real good guy.
Hmm.
And one of the things was, like, the way that, my mom talked about my dad, and, like, he was the best man
Hmm.
ever, all the things he did. He took care of her where she was working. She didn't have to cash her checks. She didn't even
Hmm.
know her checks would expire.
Hmm.
So she was just stacking her checks, and, like, the people at the job was telling her, like, you got to cash your checks.
Right. Right.
They're not good after so
Wow.
long. And
I
so,
cash mine immediately. Direct deposit.
so growing up with, like, such a awesome man, or, like, a awesome view of my mom,
Hmm.
probably my dad's legend may be greater than it was, but
Yeah.
just hearing that made me want to be a really awesome guy and have someone talk to me in that same light.
Right.
That to say this, some men, take on, like, a Superman complex where
Hmm.
they, want to save and fix.
Hmm.
We are geared to fix things.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, for some men, it's just like, the woman is talking about, like, this is my day and she did this and blah, 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 blah. And we
Hmm.
like, why you still talking to her? Why y'all still friends? Or let's
It's
do this.
simple.
We trying to get to the fixing,
Right.
and you just want to vent. But, we're wired to fix things.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when we can't fix things. And that's communication.
Yeah.
If I'm like that with my friends. We all go through life or whatever. We all
Hmm.
have our moments, and I'll just say to someone, you want me to listen, I'm here for you. If you want me to listen, I'll listen. If you want me to talk, I'll talk. If we want to just look at each other, look at each other, but let me know those expectations of you want.
Right.
You may not want me to fix it, but again, a man is not a mind reader.
Right.
Women like to give hints versus being
Yeah.
direct.
Yes.
Men will
Yes, we
just
do.
take the direct
Hmm.
version, and it's like you're frustrating yourself by not being direct, but not getting the results. I would
Yeah.
rather take a couple, seconds, minutes, or whatever to explain my expectations to
Hmm.
get what I want, versus looking at you sideways every day because I'm frustrated and you're not giving me what I want. And it's such a simple
Yeah.
fix. But back to my point, many men take on women that are projects,
Yeah.
because of that. Because they want to feel that, about themselves, where someone say, hey, you're a good person,
Right.
whatever, that I really appreciate you.
Hmm.
Because, that's one of the love languages. Like, people
Yeah.
like words of affirmation. That's
Hmm.
very important to a man.
Hmm.
And more times than not, no matter who's kind of mixing it up, it's just like a man needs sex, not want, but need. That's a whole
Hmm.
nother topic.
Yes.
Words of affirmation and support.
Yeah.
And those are things that are needed, and those are things that men look for. I remember a situation with one of my peoples. I I can't tell you all the things that I told her, but more or less, I said, like, you need, you're not, his mom. You need
Right.
to praise him and appreciate him,
Hmm.
or whatever, and stop fussing.
Yeah.
Like, if just like, you knew this person's capacity when you got there. So
Exactly.
don't, he's dumb as a rock, and now you want a scholar level conversation. It's just like, you're not going to get
It's
that.
not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. So you need to, operate with him on his level.
Exactly.
Entertainment, One of the things I suggested was, like, he's on his phone. She's like, his phone is a problem. I'm like, oh, is it a cheating thing, or is he just occupied? It's like, he's occupied playing games. I'm like,
'Cause
well,
he needs something else
look
to
at
do.
look at a 2-player game,
Yeah.
where you guys can play together,
Oh, that's
or
a good idea.
download the same game and tell him to teach you how to play.
Mhm.
Now you're communicating. Then I
Yeah.
said, why don't you go to one of these escape rooms?
Oh,
that's
that's
a
a good
live
idea.
game, basically.
Yeah.
And that'd be something fun and exciting. You have to relate to them. And this person obviously grew up where entertainment was a thing.
Yeah.
And when we talk about levels of poverty, I won't get too deep into that. Most, people that grew up in low income homes, because I to be honest with you, I never knew I grew up in poverty till later. My mom just worked 2 3 jobs. I didn't know we were poor. We had a good time. There was food on the table. But you know, entertainment is the main thing. That's why, like, in a lot of like low income homes, it's a big TV because entertainment is a thing.
Yeah.
And if that's where the person come from, and that's why understanding like how a person grew up and what their level is, and being empathetic, you know, towards how that person operates, how that person is, and that eliminates frustration. But if you go into a relationship knowing this person is dumb, don't start expecting, oh, I want this, you know, conversation. He don't speak. Well, you kind of knew that beforehand. You know, it's just like...
And then get mad.
Yeah. You know, or it's just like, you know, like a man with a woman or a woman with a man. So, you know, because, you know, one of them have like a high sex drive or a low sex drive. And it's like you guys were actually intimate beforehand. You knew this, you know, going into it. It's one thing when a person goes into it, because I think we all try our hardest when we trying to pull something.
Well,
you know, trying to get with someone. You do the tricks that you do once every 10 years. So you probably got to ask the person, is this a one in every 10-year trick? Or, you know, to get me? Or just something you're doing a regular?
Right.
You know, but for real, you know, we do try our best. You know, and sometimes too with men, I'm very leery, men and women. I'm very leery of like, you know, saying like, okay, I'm dating multiple people. For one, you know, people like are competitive. But it's just like, you know, okay, are you doing these things to get me, or this is how you are?
Right.
You know, and that's why I want to see how a person really is. You know, and that's where a lot of disappointment come in, because people win you and then they don't keep up those things.
Right.
But going back to what I was saying, it's something totally different when a person doesn't have the capacity, when the person has the capacity, was doing it, or has the capacity to do it and just refuses, versus the person not having the capacity at all.
Yeah.
So that's you managing your expectations.
I agree. So, Miss Burley TTC, she says she only dates people from similar backgrounds, and I can understand that. You know, you have to be with somebody that is someone in your comfort zone. So, I can definitely see that going forward. So, I think that was really interesting.
Yes, it is.
Had a lot of good dialogue on that.
You know, I want to just expound on that. I can say that I have been traditionally in the past. I've had like a type, and it's
Don't say. Don't
where,
say.
you know, if you would actually look at a couple of my exes, you would swear they would be sisters. And I mean, and it's like, you know, light skin, curly hair, mold on her face. I mean, like literally, like it's several girls like that. Like, where do you find these girls? There's a website. It's a special website for this. But, you know, that has been my thing and so forth. And I know that, which is so funny, I guess me and a friend of mine, we kind of came to the epiphany of, like, let's try something outside of the box, something a little different. You know, because sometimes, too, you know, and to a degree, I definitely agree that I want someone with kind of the same background, or at least the same ambitions and goals and things like that. So if someone that, you know, may have came from a poor household or a middle class household, you know, they're both educated, they're both, you know, into a lot of things, you know, a lot of similar things, a lot of similar tastes, love to travel, love to do this or that. Okay, that's one thing, but it's still important to find out about their past.
Right.
But what I've found is that, you know, I have checklist people, oh, this, and this, and it still doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean go for this anomaly that is totally unaligned with where you're going in life.
Right.
Because the one thing is this, you can start with that same person that has those same ambitions, same background, same goals, same education, same religious background, and it still does not work because you're in two different places.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, you know, aren't fully honest with where they are and what they expect when they are getting into relationships. They let people know or tell people what it is that they are expecting to hear in order to make it work, because I really like this person. When is another one? And I would say it's a little better for guys, you know, where you know, we got a couple more choices than women, you know.
Yeah, our choices are scarce.
Yeah, and
bad.
and I hear some of the horror stories, but I had some funny stories too in dating. I won't even share those tonight, but yeah, I've had some pretty funny stories that are really out there. So so I'm gonna keep the judgment for another time when I share a couple of those. But the one thing is, I think like you know, it's layers to it, you know, and even
absolutely.
You know, like on, you know, say like dating sites, people will say certain things that, you know, do this or do that, you know. And just to share a quick situation, where of course on the profile it was doesn't do drugs, doesn't smoke, and
Mhm.
smoking is a big thing for me. That's like a deal breaker for me. One, with cigarettes, it's just funky anyway,
Yeah.
and that stuff comes out your pores,
Stinks.
all of your pores,
Yes.
all of them. So, it's
Really?
not the same. Yes, all of your pores. It just comes out, it flows out. You need to eat some pineapples if you're going to smoke or something. I don't know, but it does come out your pores. It got to come out. You put it in, it comes out in a certain way. But my father actually passed away because of cancer. So it's something that, that's why I never smoked. It was never a thing.
Yeah.
Now, I feel weed is a little different, but it's illegal in most states.
Yes.
And so it was one of those things where, also I'm a professional. So, it's one of those things where to have that in my environment is not something that I would want, ultimately, but it's not something someone's going to put on a profile.
Right.
No,
they're not going to tell you that.
Like, oh, just occasional bad body odor. It's not something you're going to put on a profile.
They're not going to disclose that.
Yeah, it's something, you just naturally find out over time. But, I'm saying that to say this, that people don't want, at the end of the day, I think we all want to be accepted and not judged. And what really sucks about dating is when and this is why, I would want to find out if there's some interest between me and the other person. But it's just like, I'm a very honest person to a high degree. So I feel like I'm pouring out my heart and soul and telling you all these details of my past only to go on like a couple of dates and got to do this again.
Yeah.
So that really sucks to go through that whole process. And people don't want to be rejected. So
wait, I'm listening.
So to go through this whole process of pouring out, your story and telling this and telling that, it's just almost like you wanted to come with like pre-scripted question. Yes, I did this. Yes, I did this.
Listen.
Yes. Here's my full portfolio.
Read it and then come back
dirt
to
and
me.
whatever, and let me know if you still want to move forward, if you're wasting my time.
I know.
Or not. But it's one of those things where sometimes we make those checklist things that we really want and desire so big where we do overlook someone. So I think that you need to find median in there, because I've been on dates when it just seems like it's just like, okay, this is a straight interview. But I guess you don't want to waste your time, and the funny thing is I ran across a woman who had the philosophy. She was actually a business major, and,
really?
And it's one of the things, I'm a business major too, so it resonated with me about the marketing funnel, when she was dating. I believe I was on a schedule that Saturday to talk to her where something ran over and my appointment was missing, but she was like, had some real specific questions. But I'm not mad at it because, I don't do it like that where like, I'm just going to line myself up. I don't have that much time, I have 10 or 10:15 or 10:30.
No, we're not going to date like that. Not that kind of schedule.
But
date.
some people take it to that extreme. But, people are who they are, and you really have to get to know them. You really have to take time to dissect them because I believe to a degree, it's not always necessarily a representative that is put forth before people, but it's one of those things where there is, like your guard is up, because you don't want to be hurt, you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't want to share, all these things with someone only to ultimately be rejected.
Exactly.
So that's why, some people won't divulge everything, to a person, but I gotta really find out one, really with me, I think going out on a date or getting to know someone and talking to someone, I really want to see your mentality. I really want to see if you're empathetic. I really want to see, if you are thoughtful, if you are caring. I want to hear about, like you helping out friends or you doing something, and maybe even being taken advantage of, because that's one of those things where, I have the same thing, I'm a giver, and I know that as a giver, I have to protect myself because takers have no limits.
They are ruthless.
Yeah. So with that, I have to set myself up for success in a relationship by limiting the kind of people I associate with because, it just ends up not being a good situation. If you're an affectionate person that likes to talk or whatever, then you want to find someone that basically can resonate, in those areas,
Right.
or at least a person you feel by the merits of who they are, you can accept who they are and not try to change them.
Exactly.
Do not try to change a person.
Can't do it.
You can't do it.
You're gonna be frustrated.
Frustrated, miserable. People are to a large degree who they are.
Yes.
There's some people that that can have the capacity to get a degree where they just didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But when you try to change people, because what basically what you're saying is that this person would be perfect if this.
Right.
You're basically saying that I'm not going to be happy with you until you change that.
Right.
So that person never changed that, and you can't accept them. You're always going to be upset, and then that one thing becomes, hitting frustration, where now you're upset because they, left the sponge in the sink and then put it back on the counter. Now you're making, making arguments about different things that don't even matter at the end of the day. So that's why you have to be very careful trying to change people, because basically you're saying, I'm not satisfied with you the way that you are.
Yeah.
When you try to change someone, that's exactly what you're saying to them.
I agree. And Crystal made that same point. She said people are who they are, and that's definitely true. You have to accept people for who they are and not who you want them to be. Because that's not
the
fair.
Potential you see in the future.
No.
It's
well,
great.
Maybe if I just clean him up a little bit, he'll shine a little bit next week.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Maybe if he lose a little weight, it's gonna be at my discretion that I work out. You better work with it.
Exactly. That is too funny. Oh, let's see. So let's go ahead and see. I think we'll probably go ahead and move on to our next question that we got. Let's go ahead and see what that next question is. You go ahead and read the next question.
All right, I'll read this question.
Go ahead.
This came from Philip. Is it okay to keep up with other friendships with people of the opposite sex while dating or maintaining contact with an ex? You want to take the first stab at this one?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Now, I made the mistake in my last relationship because I thought that was going to be the be all end all relationship. I thought that this was it. This was the person that was for me. This is who I prayed for, and I saw myself being with this person for the rest of my life. And so when we got together, I had friends, and honestly, most of my friends are males. I have a couple of female friends, but most of my friends are males. And so this is just me personally. I did not want him to feel like he wasn't valued, that he wasn't important, or that I wasn't respecting him. So, a lot of my male friends that I had, I just laid it out for them. I told them, and I regret this. I said, listen, I'm with so-and-so now, and, I know that you would call me at 11, 12 o'clock at night to talk about nothing, but if he's around, like, I don't want him to feel like there's something going on when there isn't. Right. And for me, it was important for me to give him that respect, to know, like, listen, I'm with you. I don't see anybody else. I'm not entertaining anybody else. And I don't want you to ever feel like you can't trust me. So I didn't talk to my friends. I did not keep up with my friendships. And after my relationship ended, I found myself in a lonely spot because I had neglected my friends that were there before he was. And after he left, who am I going to call? I wasn't a friend to that person when they needed me because my boyfriend was so insecure about himself that he couldn't take the fact that I talked to somebody else on a friendship level. And so I don't think you should neglect your friends. I think that, whoever you're with, they should, one, trust you enough to, be able to communicate with people that you've known for years. And they shouldn't take that away from you. And that shouldn't be a requirement to be in this relationship, that you can no longer have meaningful friendships with people of the opposite sex. I I don't think that that is fair to you. I don't think that's fair to your friends, because I had some of these people I had known for years, years, and I just stopped talking to them, and that was on me though. That was a decision that I
Mm-hmm.
made, because of his insecurities. I didn't want him to feel less of a man. I didn't want to disrespect him. So that was a choice that I made. Would I ever do that again? Absolutely not. Because the person that I'm with, they should be able to understand that this person was there before me. They're important to your life. Let's all get together so you can know,
Mm-hmm.
what type of friendship that we have, and you can understand the type of friendship that we have and not be threatened by that. And so, I agree. I feel like it is a good thing to not neglect your friends, just because you want to be with somebody. And I don't feel like if that person tells you, oh, you can't associate with that person, just because, that's not somebody that you should want to be with. Um, so that's my thoughts on that. In regards to exes, it's either one or two ways with me. Either they try to come back and it's like a no go, um, or they just don't want anything to do with me. So, um, as far as communicating with exes, I mean, I don't know what I do to these people, but it's always one or two. It's never like a happy medium. It's either um, they realize a couple of weeks, couple months later, like, oh, I probably shouldn't have messed this up. Let me see if I
Right.
can fix it. And then the communication may start, the dialogue may start if they're not blocked. But
Mm-hmm. If.
if, or it's that situation where, we just, it's best for both people just to not have any type of communication, because the relationship was so unhealthy that continuing to have dialogue in any way, shape, or form is just not going to be healthy for you moving forward. So, me, it's just either one of those. But friendships, I definitely believe you should maintain your friendships. Your exes, that's up to you. If you decide that you want to go back to that, then you can have that dialogue. But if you know that that is not something, or that person is not somebody that you see yourself with in the future, and they don't want to talk to you, or you don't want to talk to them anyway, I don't see the purpose in keeping those people around. And those are just my thoughts. What do you think?
I think that one, what I try not to do with relationships is have absolutes,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's depending on the person, just how like parents have to raise their kids different.
Mm-hmm.
Every person is different. Every girlfriend is different. Every boyfriend is different, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in not having absolutes. But friendships, I definitely agree about maintaining friendships. It's some people, I know that I've cut some. I had a person that I was in a relationship with that was extremely jealous.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a park and somebody said really. She was like, "What the hell?" Because she thought they were saying Willie. It's just like, but
Really?
so. But it's I laugh at it now, but it's one of those things where it's very serious. Where with this
Yeah.
person, is like, and at that point, I kind of was at a place in my life where I isolated and separated from
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of my friends, and
Mm-hmm.
had very little in common because I really changed and focused on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have my share of female friends,
Mm-hmm.
that are like my diehards and my A1s.
Yeah.
And so, as far as friendships, when someone is a bona fide friend, they are my friend.
Yeah.
I have one of my homegirls. She's a big of a Florida State fan as me. Like normally we are trash talking on the phone. Like really, she calls me like during the game, just going back and forth with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really it. Outside of that, we don't have much dialogue. And then
Mm-hmm.
I have my professional friend,
Mm-hmm.
where we really just share. Our relationship kind of blossomed where we work for two different companies, and she placed somebody at the job where I was the interim executive director, and we just started talking kind of offline, but it was more so like office humor, where
Mm-hmm.
we just talk about the things that we wish we could say or how we felt about situations, and it was just that we would just
Yeah.
roll about that, and that was the nature of our
Right.
relationship. And I believe when you talk about friends that are bona fide friends,
Mhm.
no thing,
Right.
nothing more than that, yeah, you should not have to isolate your friend because of the opposite sex. And I'm to a point now where I don't want to have a secret friend.
Yeah.
I've had some people where, like, I had a situation where I was in a relationship, and me and this person really were friends. They were almost my confidant to a large degree,
Mhm.
and the person I was with, was very jealous of them. And um, it's just one of those things where that friend was like a secret friend. And I think the funny or the coincidence that kind of happened was that we both actually agreed, because I came to a point in my relationship where I was like, well, anything that threatens my relationship, or
Mhm.
this person feels threatened by, I'm just going to cut them loose. So
Yeah.
I was in the point of cutting her loose, but at the same time, on the opposite side with her, she was to that point where she felt like I was keeping her a secret, like we couldn't
Mhm.
have an open relationship, and that wasn't right. So we kind of parted ways at the same time. So that, in essence, kind of worked out to both of us where we were just on the same path. Now, I have had an ex that was, you know, we went to high school. Well, matter of fact, we went to junior high school and high
Mhm.
school together, with this one ex. So we were like friends long before. We
Mhm.
didn't start dating or anything to after high school. So, I mean, we were the two that kind of, basically, we were like kind of like the big brothers and big sisters when
Yeah.
we were like, when stuff would go down. Because in my the area that I grew up in, it was a lot of racial tension still, and this
Mhm.
is like in the 90s or so
Mhm.
forth. It was things where the blacks stuck together. Like every year is like a fight with the blacks, the whites, or the Mexicans, or whatever.
Mhm.
And people, and then you had like little cliques from the towns that you're from or
Mhm.
whatever. So it's one of those things where like we kind of came from the same place, the same background. So we were like, tight, through junior high, high school.
Mhm.
We started things, or if it was something that go on where it was a discrimination thing,
Mhm.
we was like the in school NAACP or Urban League. So we would resolve the issue and fight for people. So we had that camaraderie that goes back beyond when we got together.
Right.
So we were bona fide friends, and
Mhm.
and that's probably the only reason why we didn't kill each other in a relationship. It's because we were friends. But I mean, we literally played marbles together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's that was a little different.
Mhm.
Where I actually grew up with this person as a friend.
Mhm.
Then I have one ex. You wouldn't want to trust this girl around me. And so it's one of those things with with the two of those, the one ex that I went to junior high and high school with. We are bona fide friends at this point,
Mhm.
where because of our history, and that
Yeah.
goes beyond just our relationship not
Mhm.
working. We have been friends for a long minute, and we kind of
Mhm.
just fell into a relationship.
Mhm.
And then with the other one, it's one of those things where I know in her heart of hearts she would want to be with me.
Mhm.
So with that ex, that's not somebody I would want in my environment or
Yeah.
around my relationship, where
Yeah.
I know, if there's an opportunity,
She's gonna take it.
she'll take a shot.
She will.
So you have to be honest about those. And when it comes to the other person, if this is a friend, I want to meet this person, I want to see this
Mhm.
person, and so forth. But at the same time, you never know.
Yeah.
How someone will be. So it's one of those things where I choose to trust
Mhm.
versus to distrust, or to have to 100% see everything and know everyone and
Mhm.
have every detail,
Yeah.
because when I don't see everyone, know everyone, or have
Mhm.
every detail, can I trust you?
Yeah.
I don't want to predicate my trust on being, omnipotent,
Mhm.
just knowing everything.
Yeah.
I need to be able to see your text and know this or
Yes.
that or this or
Yes.
that. You
Oh,
know,
you've never mentioned this person before. Who is this? It's like, okay, do you want my yearbook that I
yeah,
have to go through and tell you
yeah.
all the people I've ever known
I
ever?
yeah, I know everybody. And the one thing is that, I had some times in my life where, like, I have some people who kind of cornerstones and whatever, and depending on what story or whatever, or
Mhm.
what I, go down, I'll mention certain people, but for the most part, I let people know, but I don't think I'll always get that back. I have this one friend. It was like always like, this guy, or like she would be like so ambiguous when it comes to things. I'm like, really? Like, are we serious? Not right now? We just share, like, she would not divulge anything. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I know, like, in a relationship, that person was like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things. Our life is basically built upon our experiences, what
Yes.
other people have taught us, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I try not, to be so. I try to one be understanding and
Mm-hmm.
take the person to be honest and truthful. And if I can't trust you,
Yeah.
if I need all of that just to trust you, I really probably shouldn't be in a relationship with you,
Exactly.
because sometimes we know when a person ain't really about nothing, but we're trying to make them do right,
We're
and that
trying to
goes
give them
back
a
to
benefit
that
of the
goes back
doubt.
to changing them.
Yeah.
If the person was a little was a little out there
Shady
in the
or
past, a little shifty, and they're not going to a little slimy, a little greasy. That really ain't gonna change because of you,
exactly.
So it's either you accept your slimy, greasy dude, or just move on.
Exactly.
But frustrating yourself, making this person be open and honest and show you everything and see everything, you're only frustrating yourself.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where like either accept the slime and the greasiness or move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that ultimately no one wants to be, by themselves. But sometimes when we're holding on to something that is not the best fit for us, we're
Mm-hmm.
really holding out the blessing or at least the opportunity to
Right.
be with someone else that would really do the things that we want to do. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, there's pluses and minuses with with every person.
Yeah.
It might be, which would be real interesting. Um, it might be a great guy, but he's not equipped to handle you. You know, but he does
Yeah.
everything else. Then it's a guy that is more than equipped and well
But
able.
he ain't nothing.
He ain't about nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. And he know he equipped. So it's one of those things.
That's his best attribute.
Yes. Sell a little on the side.
Oh my god. I can't believe
I'll give you a little bit. You pay your phone bill.
Yes. Let me get $20.
But when it comes to friendship and exes, I think
Mm-hmm.
you just kind of got to take it in stride
Yeah.
and kind of do what works for your relationship.
Exactly.
I know sometimes we make the basis for our relationship of how our parents handled
Right.
money and
Mm-hmm.
how they did this or what they never did or what they always
Mm-hmm.
did. And a lot of times, to be honest with you, when we look at people's relationship, you're getting the highlights of the
Yeah.
great stuff.
Exactly.
Nobody tell the crappy stuff that they
Mm-mm.
did or when they were insecure or when,
Yeah.
good old Bob really did cheat,
They don't post that on
they
Facebook.
don't post that.
That's not an Instagram
and our
story.
parents, and then it seemed like our parents don't tell us that until like we're like old and went through this whole date phase. You could have told me that 10 years
Exactly.
ago and saved me some heartache.
Exactly.
I thought Dad was an angel, I didn't know he was, out there, Rolling
Exactly.
Stone, got other little kids I went to school with that's really my brothers, It may not be that bad, but what I'm
Right.
saying is that, sometimes it's very dangerous,
Yeah.
comparing or setting up our relationships with what worked for
Right.
other people.
Right.
Because there are some things where we should set up our relationship to work for us,
Right.
to operate how we operate.
Exactly.
Within wisdom and reason.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am an advocate of wisdom and reasoning and setting yourself up for success,
Mm-hmm.
and if something is just out there not willing to, something you're not really willing to accept,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to, you have to let that be known and take a stance one way or the other.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. I think social media has tricked a lot of people into thinking that everybody's relationship is wonderful and rosy and oh, why can't I be like them or why can't I be like them, and everybody wants the Barack and Michelle type of relationship, but I'm pretty sure that they have had some hard days. Anybody who's been married that long, it's not going to be sunshine and roses all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's easy from the outside looking in to see, oh, this is the type of relationship that I want. This is the type of man that I want, and trying to make everything fit into a mold. But it's not like that. I agree with what you said. You have to make your relationship work for you two, because you two are the people that have to be in it, not everybody else.
Exactly.
It's not for all of the Facebook likes or all the Instagram views or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live that. That has to be your truth. So you can't compare yourself to what everybody else is doing and what you said was so true. People are not going to be posting, about the argument. Well, some of them do
Yeah.
post about the argument that they had last week, but for the most part, people post things that are, positive or inspiring or,
Mm-hmm.
for for people to see, and they don't post the heartache, the pain, the disagreements, the miscommunications. They're not on social media talking about that, so you don't see what
Yeah.
goes on behind the scenes.
Except that one person that always posts about
Yes,
like the
it's
heartache
always
and so
one.
forth, and it's just like,
Always one.
will somebody just treat this woman right?
Exactly.
I'm tired of seeing her complaining on my timeline about me and over. Can some man just treat this woman
Somebody
right?
volunteer, right?
Yeah, someone take one for the team. But to talk to your point though, I remember, I'm a person, I love to travel or whatever, and I remember, in being in a relationship where I posted, pictures. It was like a 3-day cruise or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, looking at the picture, you would think we have a grand old time.
Yeah.
But what you didn't know
Mm-hmm.
is behind the scene, at least for like a day and a half, 2 days on that cruise, it was turmoil where
Yeah.
we weren't hardly even talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was at least one full day where like we didn't even like spend time together over a disagreement that happened on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very deceiving by just looking at other people and what you may see, and it may be some grand stuff. I don't know if you guys ever seen the meme with the it's a white guy and his bride is a basically groom and a bride, where in front they're smiling, but on the back he's like holding her he's holding her hand, like like showing
Mm-hmm.
like abuse or whatever.
Yeah.
But we see the front
Mm-hmm.
end, but we don't always see the back end, what
Right.
goes on in the home, what
Mm-hmm.
goes on with how they treat each other outside of that. So, that's why comparison becomes very dangerous, because
Yes.
we set some unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, why don't you be like X, Y, Z, and
I
so? Because we
know.
see that one or two things that we want.
Mm-hmm.
He rubbing her feet. It's like, oh, I haven't had a foot rub since we dated.
You never do that.
You know, you know.
Where's my flowers? It's Wednesday, right? He got
Devon,
flowers for Wednesday, so I want mine. Why don't you do that?
yeah, Devon, why, he rubs Keisha's feet, but okay, Devon is also beating Keisha in the head in the background. You need to be like Devon. So you subscribing to a butt whooping? I mean, what part? So that's why you have to be very, very careful of comparison, because we all put our best, effort forth, or our best character, because
Mm-hmm.
most people who are, violent or have bad habits, those are not things that they display publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things behind closed doors. So
Yeah.
you don't know, and it's one of those things too, where say it may be something where. One of the big things, and maybe we can have a conversation about it in the future, is that like sleeping in separate bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Say one person is very say works from home or very creative, have to write, and at night is when they write best. So but what one person like the snuggle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Some couples sleep in other bedrooms because one may sleep hard and snore, but they love each other.
Yeah.
Sleeping in the same bedroom and being under one another doesn't necessarily mean your relationship is successful or so
Mm-hmm.
forth.
Mm-hmm.
But in that situation where a person wants to separate because of practical reasons,
Right.
not just that I don't like you, I ain't feeling you, I only want to come to your quarters, when we, are going to
Yeah.
do it and then leave. That's a whole different situation. But
Yeah.
sometimes people have practical reasons to do and operate a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
We won't dig into the money thing, but I would say like in a relationship, I like to have my own. We may have like an account where where we may pay our joint bills or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I had two separate accounts for myself. One that I pay bills out, because I want to know what's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually is there. It covers the bill and so forth, and I know what I have to operate. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I operate personally. So it wouldn't be any strife, against someone where like I don't trust you. It's not our
Yeah.
money or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can have access to my bank statements and different things and. All that, I have no big deal. I
Mhm.
just don't like to manage money. I don't like managing money with myself, much less someone else.
Right.
I have to set up boundaries and so forth. But then again, too, as mentioned earlier, I'm a giver. I might buy something. If you see, Vicky's Secret or Bath and Body Works or something on there, it's really going to be for you.
Mhm.
It's not any secret thing. And if I am
Mm-hmm.
getting a gift for a friend or for someone, that person would really know that, because
Right.
once again, I have no secret friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like a policy that I made, not just because I don't want the person that I'm with to be insecure, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want a person to have to feel like I can only play with you when my significant other ain't around.
Yeah.
We can only chat and talk.
Mm-hmm.
You're good enough for me to talk to you
Mm-hmm.
and laugh with you, but you're not good enough, for me to talk with you and laugh with you in front of my significant other
Right.
without there being an issue. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just, me personally, but that may not be for everyone.
Right.
But I believe that, it does cause issues when you
Mm-hmm.
have to suppress, some things. And then, we all probably have that one friend or so that knows all our deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes.
Mine
They
is
are the
my
keeper of the secrets.
yeah, that is my sister. If you ever did anything funky or out of way to me, my sister knows. I'm just telling people, that's just straight up. She
Yes.
knows about your triflingness. But like anybody else that I'm in a friendship with or in a relationship with, I know my sister is not what we would call messy. I know
Mm-hmm.
that she wouldn't judge a person or she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't act funny or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She's mature enough to handle the burdens of my frustrations, my
Mm-hmm.
complaints, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a cousin where, like, if I told her something, oh, she coming to get you. We can handle this right now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't tell my hood cousin the same thing I would tell my sister. That's not how I resolve things.
Right.
But I got them peoples that can handle some things, and you got the crazy ones.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to really be selective
Right.
on your confidence.
Exactly.
Because can this person,
Mm-hmm.
does this person display or have the capacity of and maturity
Mm-hmm.
to handle something like that and not act funny?
Yeah.
And not whatever. Because, like men know, like, oh, you told Keisha, about I did the thing. Now Keisha acting funny. It used to be, hey, Willie, now it's like, like she calling me Negro under her voice. This Nigerian.
That is so funny.
But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But that was just something. So, what we gonna do for here? We're about at the hour point. And
Yeah. So, we still have some questions left. I think probably at this time we'll go ahead and table them for next time.
Yeah.
But I really have enjoyed the dialogue that we've had this evening.
Absolutely.
I appreciate Will for coming on to my channel and giving us a little bit of his perspective, the male perspective of some of the dating challenges or some things that people may experience in dating. I can give you the female version and my personal version, but it's just really good to have other perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have that out there. And so if you are interested, go follow at ProWill. That is going to be his handle for YouTube.
For Instagram and Facebook.
And Facebook. Okay. And you guys know you can always catch me here on YouTube at Shara Stories. You can also find me on Instagram at SharaJ23. And you can also find me on Facebook.
Okay.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me this afternoon or this evening. I hope you guys have a great week next week. Next week we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a little bit of a Q&A next week. So I'll have that up on Wednesday. If you guys want to check that out or send me some questions that you kind of want to know about Miss Shara over here, go ahead and make sure you can comment down below in this video, and I'll go ahead and add them to the questions that I already have for the Q&A.
All right. And let us know if you enjoyed this segment in the comments.
We
So
really
it would be
wanna know.
really interesting to know your feedback on our dialogue tonight. What resonated with you? What you disagree with? We don't always have to agree because our perspective is just that.
Right.
Whether it's a male or female perspective, it's still based upon kind of our experiences, our background, what we've been taught, or what we thought or think is right.
Exactly.
So it's good to have diverse, dialogue and opinions, when it comes to certain things, because we have our own standards, we have our own way that we live, our own way that we operate.
Right.
And you know what? That's okay.
It's okay.
That is totally okay. So we want to hear those. We want to see those
Yes.
comments down there.
Yes, let us know, because we can definitely do this again, at a future date. Let us know if you enjoyed Kashari and Will, and we'll come back and answer some more questions. We'll hopefully get some more questions from some subscribers on what they're thinking about, what their thoughts are, what their questions are in regards to relationships, and we'll be happy to sit here and talk about it with you guys.
Absolutely.
And get your feedback on that.
Yes.
So
yes, personally, I accept compliments, I accept comments, I accept chicken wings,
cash out. Whatever you want to give.
We really enjoyed your
Yes.
feedback tonight. We are glad that you hung out with us
Yes.
on this night, and we look forward to doing this again. And looking forward to your feedback to know that what questions you may have, or just something we can discuss next time. All right.
All right. So until next time, you guys have a blessed week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.